Hey, Jason from FretNation, and I'm going to show you the difference between a set of round wounds and flat wounds. On here we got a set of nickel-plated steel strings. They're Diodario XL nickels. And yeah, we're just going to play a little bit. Right now volume's up, tone's up. We're going to do the same thing with the flat wounds. So play a little bit of a blues. Put these flats on. Alright, so let's change these strings. We're going to put on some Bella Deep Talkin Flat wounds. We do sell these. Before we change the strings, I want to go over the things to do when changing strings. First, we want to make sure you got the appropriate strings. So just because an instrument is long scale does not mean you're going to need long scale strings. So first we'll figure out how to check your scale length. The scale length is the measurement of the nut to the saddle. This is the vibrating length of the string. So the part of the string that vibrates, that's what's going to make your scale length. Scale length does not account for the length of string from behind the saddle to the ball end or from the nut to the tuning post. You really don't have to worry about the nut to the tuning post being too short, because every string is basically made with at least 12 inches of winding from over its usable winding length. So first, let's get the scale length of this instrument. So what we're going to do is measure from the nut to the 12th fret. And on here, it's exactly 17 inches. You multiply the nut to the 12th fret by 2, and that's going to be 34 inches. If you measure from the nut to the G string saddle, the G string is typically exactly the scale length, 34 inches. When you go to the E string is usually a little bit longer. That's just how the bass intonates. I don't know the exact theory as to why, but the E string saddle is usually further. So if you're going to measure to the actual saddle, you'd measure to the G string. And if your G string isn't right at 34, most likely your intonation's off. But if you measure, really all you need to do is measure from the nut to the 12th fret. On this one, we got 34 inches. 17 inches times 2, 34. This is a 34-inch scale. So to determine the appropriate length strings on this, we actually want to measure from where the ball end sits to the nut, and the ball end to the E string tuning post, or the tuning post for the thickest string. That will give us our smallest usable winding length and our longest usable winding length. We don't want the string to be too short. We also don't want it to be too long. So if we measure from the back of the ball end to the nut on this particular instrument, we got 35 3/4 inches. So we need a string that's at least 36-inch long usable winding length. If we go from the ball end to the tuning post, it's 37.5. So we don't want a string that's going to be longer than 37.5 inches. Ultimately, we want a string that's going to be between 36 and 37.25 inches. And we're in luck because these labellas are 37-inch winding length. So you're going to see the full winding of the string is going to end just before the tuning post, which is what we want. We don't want the full winding of the tuning post. We don't want the full winding of the string going around the tuning post. There are some flat wounds that are 38 inches long, like the GHS flat wounds, where that full winding is going to go around the tuning post. However, those strings are flexible enough you can get away with 1/2 inch of winding going around the tuning post. The Labellas, they do make a 38-inch version, but if you put those on this base, they'll break. There are some round wounds that are 38 inches that'll work on this. They work. It's not ideal for some of them, but some of them are flexible enough. If you ever have any questions about string fitment, definitely reach out to me. I'll get back to you really quickly about it. So let's go ahead and change these strings, all right? We're going to start with taking them off. We're not going to use these strings again. I like doing one string at a time. And I don't use a winder. I kind of find this relaxing, changing the strings. So this bridge has a pull through, so I don't like pulling this part through. I know I'm not going to be saving these, so I just cut them right down here, put that aside, and when I pull this out, I always make sure to catch the ball end before, so it doesn't scratch the back of the bridge. It's most difficult to catch on the E string because it's the thickest string. So we're going to do these Labella strings. Now they color coat these now. They used to have beads. So they have the color coding. So the E string is red, the G string is gold. They used to have beads on them so they didn't color coat them. But people have been installing strings for years, never experienced something like that. So they would. I've seen some people take those beads that they used to have on here and take it off, thread the string through, put the bead back on, and then string. And and they wonder why it was rattling, and it just blew my mind. But whatever. Okay. Another thing you could do if you're afraid of scratching this, you could put some painter's tape there, but I like to be a little careful, so I'm just not going to do it. So I put a little bit of the string in, I put my finger there, catch it, and bring it up over the saddle. Then I don't like to just yank it through, because I don't like scratching the surface of the string against the metal. So I kind of find the part where it kind of just doesn't touch and just pull it through. So it's not really rubbing on it. It will touch it a little bit, but not. You don't want to do too much because that will scratch the string. Lift up the ball end so it doesn't make contact with the body. Make sure the ball end is seated. Now this part, we want to make sure, first of all, before you actually install it, make sure the string is the appropriate length. On this one you can see the silk ends about 1/2 inch before the tuning post, which is exactly what we want. So on these string posts are tapered, so we don't have to worry about this as much, but we want to have a good, 2 windings around the tuning post, and you also want to push down on it so the string winds as close to the fingerboard, the headstock face as possible. With these tuning posts being tapered, they're just going to sit in the middle and create the appropriate break angle here, so we don't have to worry about it as much. So we want to have probably, what is that, about 3 or 4 inches of string past the tuning post and cut it. These are hex core strings, so we don't have to worry about bending and crimping them like round core strings. So we're going to cut that. Now this part's very important. You want to make sure the string is flat, okay? And put the string down into the post. You want to push it down and make sure the string stays flat. Press down here. Then I like to hold my index finger out and then the other string there, so there's tension on it, on the ball end and here, because we don't want the string to twist. We want the string to remain flat the entire time. So keep tension on the string, and I make sure that the string stays down on the tuning post. You don't want it sliding in the nut when you're doing this. You could use a winder and make sure you're keeping the string in the appropriate position the entire time, but we're doing this way. So you want to make sure the string is going under the winding and not over it, because you want the string to be closer to the headstock face. Keep tension on it the whole time. And I have it off to the side right now, so it's under the surface of the nut, so it's going down on the post. And now, as we're getting more tension on the string, still lifting it up out of the nut, make sure it stays down on the post. Now we could let the string sit inside the nut. There's a little bit of tension on it, enough to barely speak. You want to make sure it's not getting caught in the nut. So you lift up a little bit, just make sure it's moving. So there we go, it's on here. We're not done though. So next thing we want to do is make a little witness point, and that's press down on the string by the nut. So it's straight between the entire length of the string. That changes the pitch a little bit. So bring it back up. And then we're not done yet, but we're just going to give it one little pull. So what I'm doing, I'm kind of pressing the string down like this. I'm going to do one little pull just to stretch it very gently. Go across. That's going to lower the pitch again. There we go. That's one string down. Now we repeat that on all the others. Probably gonna do a time lapse.
Insert Benny Hill theme song.
One thing you don't want to do is wrap the string around the tuning post. You want to bring the string around the tuning post with the tuner. That prevents the string from getting twisted. When you get the string twisted, you end up with a warbly sounding string, and we definitely do not want that. Remember to keep tension on the string the entire time. You can do the same process with round wounds or flat wounds or any other type of string. Alright, so now as we're getting closer to tension, lift up at the nut just to make sure the string's not getting caught. You'll know it's caught when you're turning the tuning post and the string isn't changing pitch. Witness. A little stretchy. Starting to sound good already. There are string recycling programs. Look for one near you. I also think D'Addario might have a deal where you can send the product to them and they'll recycle. So when there's a string tree, we want to not only keep the string out of the nut, but we also want to keep it out of the string tree to make sure the string doesn't get stuck underneath the string tree while you're bringing it up to pitch. So again, I'm holding the string down. Right now it's above the string tree. I could put it under the tree, but I just don't want it to be, I'm pressing it so it's not touching the string tree. That's okay to do. Every time I turn, I want to press down under the string tree to make sure the string isn't getting caught in there. Witness. A little stretch. Very nice. Last one. Now, some types of strings that have the silk on it, like this, see how you have the plain metal string, then you have the black silk. The silk is mainly there to cover up any rough windings, because these flat wounds are polished. Some strings, like tape wounds, the silk doesn't necessarily hold the string together, but you don't want to cut the string below the tape. So if you're putting a string that's too short and you cut it over the part that doesn't have the silk, sometimes the string will unravel. So we definitely don't want to do that with a string. But again, if you're not sure the correct length string to use, just reach out to us. So I want to make sure the string's flat into the post. And you'll see I hold down the string, putting tension on the ball end and on the front and on the tail end, or tuning post side. If you notice, I have the string almost touching the face of the headstock, so it's winding down lower on the tuning post. And again, these are tapered tuning posts, so they only go down so far. I'll show you a close-up image when it's done. We're getting closer to pitch. We're going to put it in the nut under the tree. Witness little stretchy stretch. All right, so basically that's it. We're gonna do a basic setup on it. Let's do the intonation and action. But yeah, already feels great. So we'll be back to show you what this sounds like with the flats on it. And here we are, we're good to go. So let's hear what this sounds like. Start with that blues. What else did I do? Let's see, I did. So yeah, it sounds pretty cool. I did a scale thing too, didn't I? So you probably just need to stretch them a little bit more. Oh, they sound so good. So yeah, these are Bella flat wounds. So I hope you like the sound difference between the two strings. Thanks.